Hey everyone. If you're wondering what that weird sound was in the Terrible Old Man video, it clearly wasn't in the game. Um, for some reason my computer fan is acting weird. I'm gonna talk to Sergey tonight. I just played Terrible Old Man. I'm playing this next. Um, but I'm letting you know now because I just realized you could hear it in the video. I moved the mic away because the mic was actually like right next to the computer, so maybe you won't hear it as much this time. Although I will admit, it added a really creepy atmosphere to the game. It added to it so that wasn't so bad. And the thumping was, I think, my cat scratching himself. Because Butterball wanted to be my friend, and he's now in the box, waiting for me to realize he's there, and then he'll attack. Anyway. This is another game based off of a literary tale. This one is... It's labeled for educational use only, but... I think a Let's Play, I don't think the creators will mind. Because, I will be telling the story in a sense. One blue eye. So I have to close one of my eyes since I have two? This is a horrible idea. I will point out that the murder in the original story wasn't that violent, but, anyway, the story is Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. Now, Lovecraft, I can expect some people haven't read it because he has a lot of works. You better fucking know this story, alright? Anyone watching my videos better either know the story or... Creepy! Please, game, don't interrupt while I'm ranting. Better either have read the story at some point.
How can they not hear my heart beating under the floor?
That must be our victim. Anyway. You better have read it, or you better pause the video right now and read it. Will you stop it all that before I kill you? God damn it, you're rude. Anyway. The Telltale Heart. In Edgar Allan Poe. I'm gonna kill somebody myself. Okay. Oh goody. Scroll dialogue. This is going to suck. The Metro...
my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy chest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no...
They were quoting The Raven. And apparently this was on April... That was on April Fool's Day, so... Ooh. Neat.
Why did you do it?
Can't pocket that.
Can no one hear me?
Uncle Edgar, I so look forward to visiting you on the weekend. Mother and I are scheduled to arrive Saturday morning. We will stop in the city square to shop before taking a carriage to your place. Love, your niece, Morella.
Interesting little nod to Edgar Allan Poe. Now...
They're sneaking up behind you.
What is? What? What? Dude, I know this is supposed to be like a...
You hear my heart.
I may actually do a reading at the end of this to, kind of round out the game. You know what? I can't...
What did I ever do to you?
You had a creepy blue eye. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. That is the motivation for the murder. A creepy fucking blue eye.
Why did you do it?
Because apparently I'm a psycho. I'm guessing this is...
What did I ever do to you?
nothing here. I explained my case. I think in court I would be labeled completely fucking insane.
Why did you do it?
Be careful of that. That's the poison for the rats. This is all they think befits a lieutenant. Would you like a cup of coffee? I just brewed this.
Do you hear my heart?
I do hear a heartbeat.
Good stew, don't I?
Do you hear my heart?
Be careful with that knife. It's sharp enough to cut to the bone.
Oh, that's how you pocket. Okay.
Why did you do it?
Let's start pocketing things, I guess.
Be careful.
What did I ever do to you?
It is possible that a mere different arrangement of the particulars of the scene, the details of the picture, would be sufficient to modify or perhaps to annihilate its capacity for sorrowful impression.
Can't pocket that. Probably just as well. I'd be kind of messed up thinking on it.
How can they not hear my heart beating under the floor?
Can hide in a closet. This is a fucking closet. I guess we go in here.
They're sneaking up behind you.
Come.
Guess we gather everything and try to protect our innocence. Coming, just cleaning up.
You can't hide the blood on your hands.
Howdy.
About time. It's raining out here. We have a report about a possible violent altercation. We need to look around, okay?
Do you hear my heart?
And yes, we do let the police look around. In the original story, that's exactly what
Why
they...
did you do it?
See, according to this, my birthday in 1887 would have been on November 7th on a Monday. That sucks.
Why? Why did you do it?
Did I get everything? I don't know. Like, I've never really played this game.
My heart.
Please note that the man is going crazy as we're playing as him.
Can you be over here, please?
Do you hear my heart?
Or was it in here? Forgive me, officer, I can't find you. Where'd you go?
Can you be over here, please?
I'm coming. Yes. Okay, you're not the one I'm talking to then. Where's the other one? Oh, there you are.
They're sneaking up behind you.
Give me a freaking break. I was having trouble.
My cruel companion.
Moving on.
What did I ever do to you?
Where'd you go? Dude.
I have a few questions.
Hey, Miss Short, I'm over here.
What did I ever do to you?
Where were you earlier tonight?
How did the original story go? Shit.
Interesting. And when did you get home?
Why do I get the feeling I'm gonna screw this up horribly?
Did you happen to hear a shriek? That's enough for now.
Do you hear my heart?
Yeah, I guess gathering all that up, they wouldn't have proof free.
You hear my heart? They're sneaking up behind you. Can no one hear me?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
My cruel companion.
What's this?
Please tell me you're the right person.
This roommate of yours. How can he afford living in such a large house? Do you pay your rent on time? All right.
Pretty sure that's honest, you know.
Behind you.
No, they're not. Yeah, I think part of the story was, you know, hey,
How can they not hear my heart beating under the floor?
where under the floor is it anyway? Okay, that just turns it on. Why is there a raven there?
Do you hear?
Wrong story, bird! This is... Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll do a dramatic reading of the actual story once this is
Why
done.
did you do it?
Can you click on
Hey,
anything?
come here.
Why did you do it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to click on you, sir.
Where did you say your roommate was? Does he drink often? Thank you.
You can't hide from them, my dear Virginia. you could see what has become of this old man. I wish we could have both grown old together.
Guess he lost his wife. Nothing?
Do you hear my heart?
I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know where the hell I buried this guy anymore. He's here under the floorboards. What? Coming.
Why did
Okay, you're right there. Good.
What time did you say you got home? I'm done for now.
Oh yeah, this is kinda how the story went. We're in the middle of the story. Basically, they keep asking the same questions over. They're basically a pair of Columbos. And...
did I ever do to you?
Trust me, the motivation is fucking hilarious in this story. When you think about it. But at the same time, it kind of shows this dude is not quite right in the head.
How can they not hear my heart?
Everything
beating
appears to be in
under
order.
the floor?
Sorry for disturbing you. Good night.
I guess you got away with it. For here I lie, all alone, left to rot and turn to bones.
Hey, wow, we actually changed the ending of the story a little bit.
You did it once, improve your skill. Why not try again for another kill?
Okay. Apparently, the object of the game is to change the ending a little bit. But that's not how the story really ends.
My true companion.
So...
What did I ever do to you?
Hang on. Wish there's a way to shut this dude off. Oh great, you can hear it like...
Do you hear my heart?
We'll shut this off for now, just to kind of have it on the screen. Because he's going to get annoying. And I will try to see the confession ending. But first, I want to pull something up. So hold on one second. I will say that no, that's not how the story ends. Even though the cops being kind of annoying was part of it. So, and I... Just give me a minute, I'll get the actual story out so we can get a dramatic reading at the end of this. In the meantime, I will also get the other ending, so 1 second.
Hopes that you may come visit soon. Not to see my only son, but I require your help. Times have been tough as of late. My pension hardly covers the bills anymore. I have, in fact, had to bring in a boarder to help make ends meet. All seemed well at first, but as of late, I have grown weary. I cannot say for sure, but something is not quite right. I feel as though I am being watched. I swear that I can hear them breathing in my room at night, standing over me. I do not feel safe. Please, come help me as soon as you can. Hurry, Edgar.
Okay, I kind of busted in this time because I didn't get to them fast enough because that letter took forever.
What did I ever do to
Go about
you?
your business.
So, kind of screwed up the story again, but I didn't show that because it really doesn't matter. I have the story up on a PDF on my phone, so once this is done, we'll have a dramatic reading. So we're
Why
gonna
did you do it?
lie through our teeth a little bit, and then we're gonna confess.
This.
Where are you? Thank you, weird magical light of strangeness.
Do you hear my heart?
Hey.
Do you live here alone? Is your roommate home?
Let's see what happens if I confess.
Let's see if this story is true. Tear up the planks.
Knew something wasn't right. I could tell by their eyes.
That's it? No epic tearing up and finding the body or anything? Like, come on, dude. Alright. I don't want to actually, Yes, you guys see my volume for a minute. Where is it?
Why did you do it?
We're going to mute that because I'm sorry, the old man is annoying as fuck. And we're going to read the proper story. So this is a little bonus reading for you guys, so forgive me. True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and am. But why will you say that I'm mad? The disease that sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was a sense of a hearing acute. I heard all things in heaven and earth. I heard many things in hell. Then how am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say when the idea first entered my brain. But once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture. A pale blue eye with a film. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, at this point, you fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded. With what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. Every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it oh so gently. And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put a dark lantern, all closed, that no light shone out, and then I thrust my head in. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see him lay upon his bed. Ha! Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well into the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. Oh, so cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And I did this for 7 long nights, every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed. So it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when day broke, I boldly went into his chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone, and inquiring how he passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand never moves more quickly than it did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain the feelings of triumph. To think that there was, opening the door little by little, and that he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea. And perhaps he heard me, for he moved in the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now, you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was black as pitch, with a thick darkness, for the shutters were closed, fastened, through the fear of robbers. And so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in. I was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped on the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying, "Who's there?" I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed listening, just as I have done, night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Presently I heard a slight groan. I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not the groan of pain or of grief. Oh, no! It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt, and I pitied him, though I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been laying awake ever since the first slight noise, and he had turned in the bed. His fears had been ever since growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor, or it's merely a cricket who made a single little chirp." Yes, he had tried to comfort himself with all these suppositions, but he had found it all in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked his evil black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. And it was a mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to fear, though he had neither seen nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a simple dim ray, like a thread of spider, shot from the crevice and fell full upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it in perfect distinctness, all the dull blue, with the hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the eye, as if by instinct, precisely on the damned spot. And have I not told you, what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the sense? Now, I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when it's enveloped in cotton. I knew the sound well, too, for it was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of the drums stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried to how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eve. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now, at the dread hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of the old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet for some minutes longer I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder and louder. I thought the heart must burst, and now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked once, and once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor, pulled the heavy bed over him, and then I smiled gamely to find the deed so far done. But for many a minute, the heart beat with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took to the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, the arms, and the legs. And then I took up 3 planks of the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. And then I replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, would have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatsoever. I, too, had been wary of that. The tub had caught it all. When I made the end of these labors, it was around 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered 3 men who introduced himself, with perfect suavity, as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors over the house. I bade them to search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure and undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought them chairs to the room, and desired them here to rest their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner convinced them I was singularly at ease. They sat while I answered cheerily. They chatted of familiar things, but ere long I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat, and still they chatted. The ringing became more distinct, continued to become more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definiteness, until at length I found the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with heightened voice, yet the sound increased. What could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much like the sound as a watch that makes enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in high key with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why have they not begun? I paced on the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if in excited fury by the observations of the men, but but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore, I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the floorboards. But the noise arose over it all and continuously increased, grew louder and louder and louder. And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. It was possible they heard it not. Almighty God, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think, but anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could no longer bear those hypocritical smiles. I felt again I must scream or die, and now again, hark, louder, louder, louder! Villains! I shrieked. Dissemble no more! I admit the deed! Tear up the planks! Here! It's the beating of his hideous heart! The end. Okay, the game got a few things wrong. First of all, there were 3 cops, not 2. Minor nitpick, but hey. 2... they added a lot of details, apparently. We really didn't know much about either character, and 3 of the cops actually didn't suspect a goddamn thing. He literally just went batshit insane. And tore up the floorboards. And now you know the actual story, and I figured, since this is for educational use only, playing it and then reading the story, you can kind of compare and contrast it, and I screwed up a few places in the story, but I hadn't read it in a long time, and I did want to have, like, a little bit of fun with it. I mean, come on, it is like an old school ghost story, essentially. It's Edgar Allan Poe. You know, you gotta do it right. Do it right or don't do it at all. You know, it's one of those things. But yes, this is the game Telltale Heart, and now you know this and the story, so now you have no excuse for not knowing the story. And I did you a big fucking favor, even though I said at the beginning, pause it and read the story yourself. But if you were too lazy to do that, you got a bonus reading at the end of this. So, there you go. But yeah, there were a lot of differences between the game and the story. And it's kind of a shame they didn't, like, say, make the old man a character in it. Like, I was half expecting to see the murder take place, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. And that was just another little game I was playing that's private.